Welcome back, everybody, to the show this evening. Just quickly before we get into this insane story, I want to apologize. On this morning's morning broadcast, we talked about Phil Robertson. A clip of him had popped up on my feed, and I discussed it. I had no idea that just yesterday, Phil Robertson of Duck Dynasty had passed away. And given that context, what I was saying was very inappropriate to be ridiculing and making all these jokes. I really had no idea. Now I makes sense why that clip popped up and was recirculating from years ago. I just thought it was funny and was kind of riffing off of it. Totally inappropriate. Didn't know that. I do apologize for it. We tried to edit out of the morning broadcast on YouTube and the podcast platform as best we could at that moment. Because again, I just think in such a circumstance, it's wildly inappropriate. And I wish the absolute best to his family, and our hearts go out to them. Now onto this. Also on the morning broadcast, we talked about Trump pardoning a sheriff who had been convicted of bribery. And it wasn't like, did he do it? He did it. So the only argument Trump could make was, well, the Biden DOJ was so weaponized, so we don't trust them or something, even though the guy was convicted and there was a lot of evidence being bribed to give people certain positions. Insane. Well, now we have something even more insane. Take a look at this. Bombshell report reveals Trump pardoned tax fraudster whose mother raised millions for president's campaign and then specifically paid $1 million to have a dinner with Trump. And then a few days later, Trump pardoned her son. Well, look at that. Now, some people will make out the mother to be a bad guy. I think she's Mother of the Year. Okay, that's love right there. The fraudster, not so much. Former nursing home executive Paul Walczak pleaded guilty to using his employees' taxes for his own personal use. Pleaded guilty. He was ordered to pay $4.4 million in restitution, sentenced to 18 months in prison. Just 12 days later, however, Trump signed a pardon allowing Walczak to avoid punishment. So he pleaded guilty to defrauding people, a tax fraud guilty plea, and now he's not going to have to be punished because Trump pardoned him. But why did Trump pardon him? Well, the New York Times exposes this. Elizabeth Fago. That name could go wrong really quickly. Ms. Fago had raised millions of dollars for Mr. Trump's campaigns and those of other Republicans, the application said. And it talks about other context as well. But this is the part that is just, it's already a crazy conflict of interest for someone to donate a bunch to your interests and then you give their son a pardon who pleaded guilty to using his employees' taxes for his own personal uses. I don't know if it was Botox and OnlyFans like George Santos, but it was something. It was something. But then there's that extra layer of this dinner that is horrifying, shocking to people, understandably. The report added that Fago was later invited to a fundraising dinner at Mar-a-Lago, priced at $1 million per person. The dinner offered face-to-face access with Trump. The pardon was signed 3 weeks after that dinner. 3 weeks after this private dinner that she only had access to because she gave $1 million. $1 million. More money than some people ever see in their whole life just to have dinner.
I feel like I'm dying inside.
Yeah. And that leads to, coincidentally, 3 weeks later, Trump looks at the case and says, I don't think he was treated fairly. I don't think he was treated fairly. The $1 million. She wrote on one of the millions of dollars the evidence for why he wasn't treated fairly. Now, you know what's running through my head? That's bad. That's corrupt. That's terrible, obviously. Would my mom do that for me? Let's see if we can get her on the phone. Let's call. Let's go. Okay, let's see. Let's see if my mother would do this for me. Please answer. Be there for me, mother.
Hey, Louie.
Hey, we are recording a segment right now, and I just want to ask you a question, if you're okay being on the record on the segment.
Is my voice going to be on?
Your voice will be on. We can obviously not post it if you don't want it to be. But here's the question, and then you can approve it afterwards. if I engage in tax fraud, let's say, and
plant-based, pellet, meat-free. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
You won't die from putting that on your back.
what is happening? Okay. Are you
On our side?
you there with me? Okay.
What?
Here we go. So let's say that I pleaded guilty to using my employees' taxes for my own personal use. Would you, out of love for me, go and pay a bunch of money to have dinner with the president to convince him to pardon me?
No. I would not.
Dang it. Well, Elizabeth Foggo is a better mom than you.
Who?
A woman who
I'll put
did
you on the
that.
speaker.
Okay, that's the only question.
So, hang on a second. So, did you want the answer to be yes?
I wanted the answer to be whatever was your honest truth.
Yes.
You know what? What did you want it to be?
So, I think we got what we need. Thank you. I love you.
I love you too.
All right, bye. I wanted to be yes. Well, that went a lot better than I expected. That was brilliant. So, Elizabeth, I think you're a hero. I think that you do anything for your son, and I think your son is a terrible person. No, all of this is so corrupt. And see, that's the difference. I wouldn't get myself in such a situation. I promise, guys, I won't use your taxes for my personal purposes. Producer Jaden and Clean Beautiful Cole.
Clean, beautiful Cole.
All right, now amid this, as I'm getting another phone call, I'm not going to answer it. I'm sorry. Let me just finish the segment and I'll call you back, I promise. So amid this sort of corruption and Trump cutting taxes for wealthy folks while he's gutting crucial programs like Medicaid, you'd think there is no way there will not be a midterm destruction of the Republican Party, right? That's my hope. I hope it goes that way. Trump supposedly has a plan, though, to keep control of the House. Trump's 5-step plan or 5-step push to keep GOP control of the House, because his agenda, despite him trying to do a lot of it through executive authority that he doesn't have, his agenda, now I feel bad. Let me call her back. Let me just quickly call her back. What if she's revising her answer? Hey, we're still recording the segment.
We were discussing it. I thought you were saying, would I pay somebody off?
It's kind.
Would I commit fraud myself
to
get you out? That's what I thought you were asking.
Okay.
But if you were just asked, Connor was saying he thinks you were asking, would I find a way to get in front of the president and request a pardon?
Right.
And that I would do.
Oh, okay, good.
But I thought you were saying, would you pay off people? Would you commit fraud?
Right. I understand. Yeah, I understand how it could. It's kind of it. That's the corruption of it, because this is a story related to Trump. But I appreciate that you would try to get in front of the president.
That I would do, and I would succeed.
Awesome. Well, let's leave it on that. Got to get back to this Trump's 5-step push to keep the GOP control of the House.
Okay, bye.
All right, love you. Bye. Okay, well, there you go. She revised her answer. We love it. And let me just quickly go through these points, and then we'll look at how Democrats are planning to counter his plan. He's trying to prevent retirements of members of the House who have seats that they could probably win, but maybe primary race up in the air without a strong incumbent would go a little bit more uncertain. And then spending big. He has a $500 million political apparatus. Some of that came from that mother. And so he'll be spending that for candidates that need help, taking primary challengers off the table, trying to quickly endorse candidates in these primaries to solidify support and not have a big, messy primary, raising gobs more money, it says, and then ramping up recruiting. They're seeking out candidates in swing districts, contests with no incumbents. Their goal is to get the party to coalesce around a Trump and GOP-backed candidate to avoid a bloody primary. Here's the thing. Trump thinks it's going to work because he's deluded to think that he's not going to be the politically toxic variable here. But yes, he won the election, and we've explained why that happened. That doesn't mean that what he's doing isn't going to cause a backlash. But just because there's going to be a backlash, does that mean Democrats are going to get their crap together and figure out how to reach out properly to the voters that they lost a lot of support with, like young men? We don't know. And so far, there's some bad signs. We talked about on, I think it was yesterday's morning broadcast, this report about a little meeting the Democrats or Democratic advisors had to figure out how to reach out to young men. And it was a cause for concern. Take a look. The New York Times runs brutal report on top Democrats gathering at luxury hotels to discuss $20 million plan for speaking with American men. Hi. Are you a man? Do you like boobs? We're the Democratic Party, and we're cool now. Don't worry. Fishing, boats, boobs, beers. We're the Democratic Party. We drink beer too. The New York Times published a hard-hitting report Sunday laying out the ways in which President Trump has monetized his office. But the Gray Lady didn't exactly let Democrats off the hook Sunday, as they also ran a devastating feature on the party's efforts to win back young male voters. Let's start with this part. The prospectus for one new $20 million effort obtained by the Times aims to reverse the erosion of the Democratic support among young men, especially online. Good. It's codenamed SAM, short for Speaking with American Men, a strategic plan. Now, cut away from this for a second, Jaden. First, let me say thank you so much to Rachel Kiesler for becoming a member. I appreciate it greatly. But first off, you're thinking, what are they going to invest in outreach on college campuses? Or are they going to try to support, I don't even know logistically how you do this, but try to win over the support or send surrogates onto more centrist podcast platforms to make the case for the Democratic agenda? Are they going to study? All right, I can do it. Ready? It promises investment to study the syntax, language, and content that gains attention and virality in these spaces. It recommends buying advertisements in video games, among other things. So honestly, some of this is totally great. It's so funny to picture people at hotels sitting being like, how do we win back young men? Yes, to bring another cocktail. How do we win back young men? The men, what are they like? How do they want to be spoken to? You know what we could do? We could study their syntax. The syntax. Let's see if ChatGPT can support us on that. Give me examples of common Gen Z male phrases. While that's cooking, I will continue forward and check in on how ChatGPT does with that. But just imagining them starting to use like Gen Z terms just to after a report. General slang, right? All right, the Democratic Party has spent $20 million to understand the young, the youth, and the men, and the males, the penis holders. They have figured them out. Here we go. Hello, young men. Bet. No cap. We here at the Democratic Party have Riz. We don't think that you're an NPC. Wow, Republicans just got ratioed. It's giving failure. One of the things it listed was bruh. Bruh. Is bruh still a thing? Bruh. And then it has dead ass. You dead ass wore Crocs to the wedding? Is the example they gave me. Thank you, ChatGPT. You dead ass wore Crocs to the wedding? No cap. And it gives the definition. This is so cute. Seriously / for real. Yeah, so maybe this $20 million studying will teach them some of those phrases and they can win over young men. That's what I imagine. Now, it might be better than that. I was sent this. I'm not going to say by who, but this is hilarious. This is the world's first live sperm race held in Los Angeles.
Downtown LA's night scene exploding Friday with an event billed as the world's first sperm race. 4 contestants came with the goal to win $10,000 in bragging rights for the strongest, fastest semen.
I want to build Olympics for sperm.
Eric Zhu is one of the sperm racing organizers. With the help of wealthy investors, the 17-year-old Bay Area high school student and entrepreneur launching this epic competition to raise awareness on male fertility health.
The general public doesn't talk about it because it's so taboo.
The contenders, who were handpicked out of dozens of young men, were given money each week to train their mind, bodies, and diets ahead of the viral, sold-out marathon. The competitors' sperm put into a microscopic racetrack. And then they're off. The sperm literally captured on this screen, swimming to the finish line.
That's fun. So here's imagine someone in my life, okay, sending that to me with the description. What do you think it was? Think, because I'm going to connect this back to the story we were talking about before. What do you think? Mine would have won. That was the caption. They just sent me, hey, here's a video, interesting. Mine would have won. Okay. How's life been for the last 3 years? Like, what? Hi. I'm doing well also. Weird. Okay. Mine would have won. But this is how we reach young men, you know? This is how we reach the next generation, sperm races. Because at the end of the day, really whittled, because they're thinking about how do we reach men? How do we connect with them? Think about the 2 things that every man wants, okay? They want to win, and they want good sperm. And so I think the Democratic Party, don't do $20 million for figuring out what, some phrase means. But instead, give me the $20 million. I'll keep 10 of it, to be honest. But I'll spend the other 10 sponsoring a tour around America of sperm races. And what happens is you do the race, but then you kind of weave in political messages, right? Like, that sperm deserves to win like you deserve healthcare. Go Democrats, right? Like, just, I think it could work because you could have an MC and like Bernie comes out and he's like, everyone should have good sperm, just like everyone should have a fair living wage. I think it could be good. I think you think I'm kidding. I'm saying put on, because like there was this story about Democrats hosting voter turnout events where there was like music and they handed out, I don't even know if this is true. I think it was probably a right-wing rumor, but people got in their head. They were handing out like birth control and drinks and condoms or something like that. Just a bunch of things that people would enjoy. Sort of the bare necessities. Like whenever you're thinking if my house burned down, what do you get? Condoms, birth control. You just you keep it simple. Alcohol. Just Tito's, Trojans. That's all you need. Boom. And then you go find your dog. But I think this is actually better because what you could do, there's a you know how MAGA has really become obsessed with UFC, and so there's this cultural, Trump walks into the stadium, people are cheering, it's cool, it's manly. Then young men, they associate punching person with Trump and punching person strong, so Trump's strong, right? There's that kind of imagery association. I think something similar could happen with the sperm races where you have, since I think we should run Biden in 2028, you have Biden come out and so the sperm race is happening. So people are thinking sperm, cool, race, fun. And then Biden comes out and he's like, listen, folks, this is the United States of America. And everyone goes crazy. They go crazy. And they're like, wait, I didn't think I would want this, but I think we should run him again. I think he should be president again. And all because of the sperm races. So I think that might be how we reach young men. We do sponsored sperm races across the country in stadiums like this one. And then you get like a prize. And people now associate cool with the Democratic Party. See, I didn't need $20 million to do that. I just figured it out. And okay, maybe one time you say that sperm has roots, like one time, because you did the whole report. So you want to at least incorporate one of, you just got handed an L, right? Like one time, maybe twice, just so you don't waste the money on the report. So my idea aside, I think Democrats need a better plan than what we discussed there on the morning show. That's where I'll leave this segment.